Hey, thanks for stopping by. Health and happiness to you. I'm Skol, and today we're going to do a quick review of the Cold Steel Karve with a K. This is one of my favorite knives, and I've been carrying it a lot the past 2 years. First, we'll go over the stats. And I've watched a bunch of actually, I think I watched every single review that's out there on YouTube already. And these stats have been verified by others a few times. I do have a scale and a ruler. I can do these, but we know these stats are right. 3 3/4 inch blade length. That's above average for a typical pocket knife. AUS 10A steel. That's a middle of the road. Not completely budget, but closer to budget. Middle of the road steel, but still good. Weight on the other scales came in at about 5.9 to 6, so that's correct. And the blade thickness, 3.8 millimeters. That's actually the same as the 8010, 8015. Everybody knows those are some super heavy-duty, tough knives. But when you think about super thick, tough utilitarian knives, you should probably also be thinking about the Karve. And also here it says G10 handles, and we can confirm that. If you see here on the milling, see those lines? That's showing that it's been layered. The material, G10, is very similar to FRN. FRN is usually injected molded, but when you take the same material and cure it in layers, it becomes stronger and more rigid. So G10 is superior, and you can tell if you've got G10 if you see these layers where it's been milled down. So you see the layers. Some features: it's a Wharncliffe blade shape, has thumb studs, it's got this Atlas lock. So you pull this plunger back and that releases the knife. You can also pull that back and swing it open, or use the thumb studs. And I did want to show you another example of a similar lock style. Here's a Civivi Vision. Cold Steel calls theirs the Atlas lock. Civivi Vision FG, they call it the Super lock. So you pull the plunger back and you can swing it open. This was knife of the year when it came out, so this is a popular knife. So another thing about this, Cold Steel, in their marketing literature, they actually marketed it as a little bit of a Viking theme, and they said, when you look at the profile here, it looks like a Viking longship. So you can imagine this is the ship hull, and then it's kind of symmetrical. You can imagine it floating in the water, and the mast right about there, with a bunch of Vikings with oars sitting in there, and they usually mounted their shields on the side of the boat. So Viking longship shape, that's one of the reasons I like this with the Skol, and Viking theme is kind of my thing. So that's one reason it's my favorite. And after carrying this for about 2 years, just recently, a few weeks ago, by accident, I found out something that made this knife even better. So this has been broken in, and I never noticed before until I think I was watching a video about detent, and I just picked up some of the knives that were next to me. I was checking the detent, and you can see it has detent. It's not coming out. In fact, does it have spring? It does. Keeps it in there. Spring tension. But this is such a 3.8 millimeters thick and a longer 3 3/4 length. It has enough mass that you can get some circular momentum on it if you do a wrist flick. So without using the thumb studs, without using the super lock, just holding it, not pressing anything, if I just give it a thick at about a flick at about 50% power, it'll just flick right open. So, and I'm trying not to hit the tripod right here or the camera, but I'll try to get the opening on camera. Just a little 50% flick, and I'll do it a couple times. So, didn't get it that time. It's actually easy to do if I'm not trying to avoid the camera. It comes out every time with about 50% power. And out of all the knives I have, flippers had always been like my favorite. I usually buy a flipper. I just like doing flippers. That's always been an easy way to open. And I do like the super lock. I think I even like that better than a button lock. I also like button locks, but I just kind of like the flipper motion. So my favorite way to open a knife is flipper. My favorite way to close is a super lock. And I guess a knife that could do a flipper and a super lock would be best of both worlds. But when I found out that this had a super lock for closing and didn't even need a flipper, even easier than a flipper. It's kind of like wave technology where you pull it out of your pocket and it catches and flips it open automatically. This is like doing wave but without the wave. And so you're not fraying your pocket, and it's not too hard to do. So I'll do it one more time. So I just give it a little flip, and because it's broken in, it flips open really easy. So that got me curious. Had anybody else noticed that is possible? I went and I watched every single YouTube video on the Karve, and I did find one guy that mentioned it, but he mentioned it just in passing that he could flip it open. But I guess that didn't strike him as exciting because he barely mentioned it at all. But to me, it was a big deal. So there's actually another Karve in here. You know, it's a good knife if I want to buy another one as a backup. So eventually, if I wear this out, I know I've always got another one ready to go of one of my all-time favorites. So what I was curious about, though, is I went and opened up my backup. So I've already opened this. And the only thing in there is a bubble wrap and a new Karve. And I tried it out to see if you could flip it open straight out of the box. And the answer was no. But after working the action a little bit, it started to break in. And if I did like 100% power, I could get it to go. And this one that's broken in, only about 50% power, so this is super easy. But I could get it to go finally. But I was using 100% power, so that's not good if you have to give it a maximum flip to get it to go. But if I reversed it, then it was a lot easier. So if instead of flipping it sideways or holding it naturally and flipping it, if I reverse the knife in my hand and then give it a downward flip, I guess I can get more flick power going down, but or maybe the gravity helps. But if I was on the new one, I could get it to do that fairly easy. So basically, just a quick flip with it upside down. So there, it swung open. But if I do it downwards in a quick downward flick, I can get a lot more power on it. So that one flips open pretty easy with the downward flip. And then I was curious, what other knives could I flip open besides this one? So I actually started going through my collection, and I have hundreds of knives. I was curious if any of the other ones. This one was close to it, but I never quite got it all the way. So here, I'll try it, but I'm not going to get full power with the tripod right here. Let's give it a try. Nope, didn't break the detent. But I did find one other, is another Cold Steel, and this is also a thick knife and so long, and it takes me about 75% flick power. So this is only 50%. This one, if I give it about 75% of my flick power, I can flip it open. Here, I'll do it real quick. So that made me like this knife more too, and I carry this one a lot, especially if I'm not carrying a fixed blade. If I already have a fixed blade, which already gives me a lot of blade length, then I won't carry this and a fixed blade. But I do actually carry this one a lot. There you go. Let's call that flick. We need a name for that. Flick opening. Is that, how much of a new thing is that? Not using any buttons and you can just flick it open. Now the one, what if I took it apart and oiled it up? Could I take a new one out of the box and make it flip easier? Possibly. So maybe I'll do that when I get the new one going someday. Those are the main things I wanted to cover. It's the Cold Steel Karve. It's got this utilitarian point. I'm going to do a video about Wharncliffe later, about the benefits. Wharncliffe is my favorite. I've been buying mostly Wharncliffe shapes lately, but I'll talk about that in the other video. Anyway, I highly recommend this knife if you haven't given it a chance. 6 ounces is above average, blade length is above average, but you're getting, and I would like to see Cold Steel give us a S35VN version of this. That would be, I would like the steel upgrade. I get that. What's the price going for? I just looked on Amazon. $91 currently. It's been bouncing around 90 to 100 lately. So that's the current price, August 2025. And recommend this knife if you're looking for a good utility, one that has that flick open potential. I did want to cover one more thing, some of the details. So look at I always, when I study a knife, I look at attention to details. I like how this blade angle follows down into the G10 into a straight line. And also when it's open, I like how it made the symmetry of the milling here with the grind. It gave it some symmetry. And then other people comment about these metal protrusions for the lanyard hole, and what's the purpose of that? Well, when you do the super lock, because it's not as far up here it's up in the front, and on the Cold Steel Atlas lock you're coming back a little bit and then recessed, so that can cause you to choke back a little bit. And if you're choking back and closing the blade, if you can see that tip, what if those weren't there and your skin was coming in even more? That tip would be awfully close to giving you a nick right on your palm. So one good thing about this is there's no chance, it keeps your skin out of the way, so you can close it without getting cut. So that's one reason, I think, why those are there. So they really thought this through. Also, that gives you the symmetry to turn it into the Viking longboat shape. Without that there, it wouldn't look like it. And also it gave you an extension for the lanyard. So those are some reasons why that's there. But I really like this design, and like I said, I recommend this one, so go give it a try. I'm hoping these sell good so they upgrade the steel also. So there you go, Cold Steel Karve. I'm Skol. Thanks for watching, and remember, always carry a knife.